What's up everybody, Peter McKinnon here, and today we're talking about how to make your photos look cinematic fast using LUTs. It's pretty easy and it's pretty fast, so let's go. Okay, what is going on? Happy Sunday. I was gonna go outside and do a tutorial today, but it's just raining and gloomy. Ugh, nope, so staying indoors. Now I released my LUT Pack, which are essentially 7 presets to color grade your footage within Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, DaVinci, whatever it is that you use. You guys seem to really love them, but the question I got asked all the time, so many emails and direct messages, DMs and tweets was, do these work in Lightroom or Photoshop? Can I use these with my photos? Because the general consensus, what most people just assume are presets and actions would be classified as the photo side of things and LUTs would be the video side of the color correction. So the answer is yes, you can use LUTs within Photoshop. So if you've already purchased the LUT Pack, then you are good to go. Just follow this tutorial and you can use those same 7 looks to edit any photos that you want. And I'm gonna show you how to do that. If you haven't, the link is below. You guys can check those out. You can use them for both your photos and video. It speeds up your workflow. It's the color correction and editing that I use a lot on my videos and photos on Instagram or here on the channel. So link is below. Once you've downloaded those, I'm gonna show you how to install them into your computer, how we can use them in Photoshop to get a quick edit to make something look so much better and really cinematic. So without further ado, let's just get started. Check this out. All right. Okay, so check this out. Once you have downloaded your LUT Pack, or if you have already downloaded it, you should have a folder here called Peter McKinnon LUTs Cine Pack 1. Inside are 7 cube files that you would use within Premiere or DaVinci or whatever video editing software that you have. So if we want to use these for photos, which we do because that's why you're here and why you're watching. So from the desktop, you can hit Shift-Command-A on a Mac and that will open up your applications folder. Now inside that, you can double click on Photoshop 2017 if you are using the Creative Cloud. And within there, you're gonna hit Presets and then you're gonna hit 3D LUTs. Now within this folder is where you're gonna open up the LUT Pack that you've downloaded from the link in the description. You're gonna Command-A to select all of those, hold down Alt so it's making a copy, and then just drag over to the 3D LUTs file, drop them in, and then you can clean that up by control-clicking Arrange by Name. And that's essentially it. All of those 7 LUTs are now installed into the Photoshop presets folder, so when we access them within Photoshop, you have basically 7 new presets to color correct your photos at any given time. So check this out, let's launch Photoshop. Whoop. Okay, so let's start with one of the photos I took recently in the Italian Alps of this cow, this yak dude or whatever, Chewbacca's cousin, essentially. So first things, when you open it into Photoshop, it's going to open the camera raw by default, and you can, in there, you can adjust the highlights, the whites, the blacks, whatever. You can pump the clarity, do whatever edits you want ahead of time before that file actually opens in Photoshop. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're just gonna pretty much leave it like this. It's exposed pretty even, so we're just gonna open the image like so. So now that we are here, we are in Photoshop. You wanna make sure that over on this side, Adjustments is selected. If you don't have the Adjustments tabs there, you can go over to Window and you can come down to Adjustments, make sure that's clicked, and then it will pop up on the right side. You're gonna click on the one that looks like a grid that says Color Lookup. And when you click on that, it's gonna open this little window inside that says 3D LUT File. It says Load 3D LUT. So you're gonna click on that, and because we already dropped all those files into the folder a few seconds ago, they should all appear here in alphabetical order, but they're all within this list. So if we want to apply Kodak Killer to this photo, we're just gonna click on that and boom, there it is, pretty much good to go already. It's a little bit too yellow, but it makes an extra layer for you, so you can just come over here to the opacity right in the layers panel and just adjust the intensity of that LUT. So maybe we like it around 70% looks good, just like that. And already from hiding that to now, that looks a lot better. So you could be done at this point if you wanted to. Everything is all and well. If you want to add and tweak the photo just a little bit more, maybe add some contrast, sharpen it up a little bit, kind of like what we talked about in how to make your photos look better fast. I'll give you the super fast version of that. You want to hit Command-J with the background selected, which makes a new layer. From that point, come over to Filter, Blur, run a Gaussian blur on it. I have it preset to 5 and just hit OK. Now that makes the image blurry for a moment, but what it does is if you change the blending mode to soft light, it kind of brings in a lot of punchiness to that. Really just exaggerates everything essentially. So, but you want to take that opacity down to 50% because it's just a little too much. From that point, hit Shift, Option, Command, E. That stamps a new visible layer. And what we're gonna do with that layer is desaturate it. So hit Shift, Command, U. That desaturates it. We're gonna go back up to the panel over here and select Overlay. Now, this looks like a muddy, disgusting, contrasty mess. Not to worry. We click on Filter, Other, High Pass, and what that does is applies the sharpening to just the light and the dark areas of the photo. I have it preset at 10. You hit OK, and there you have it. You can bring that opacity down just to adjust it a little bit, as well as maybe the background copy, maybe drop that to 25% just so it's not super overwhelming. But so that's before, when the photo comes into camera raw, after we tweaked the highlights and the clarity a little bit, and then once we've run our LUT and a couple quick edits, boom, that's what we have. And then if you want, you can just Command Shift E, you can flatten that entire image, and then Command Shift, save that to the desktop as version 2, and we'll hit save. Let's grab another photo. Let's open up this one, which is actually my desktop background. So that's the shot straight out of the camera. I always just kind of protect the highlights a little bit. I'm fine with that. Let's just hit Open Image, which opens it up into Photoshop. Make sure you over here on your adjustments layer, you can click that little grid there, color lookup, select that, load 3D LUT. Now different LUTs and different presets are gonna look better with different photos. That picture of the cow or yak or whatever it was, Wookie, that looked really good with some warm tones. So I know Kodak Killer, which is one of the LUTs in my pack, would really lend to that image well. So for this, obviously Arctic Circle, Fade Out, or maybe Black Eye would be good, but we can test them all out. We can hit Black Eye, which is really gonna make it dramatic and punchy. You could save the photo right there. It's a little warm for me, so I might drop the opacity a little bit, maybe to like 60%. Now we can see by hiding that layer and unhiding it, the difference it's made already without really having to do anything in Photoshop. So if you've never even used Photoshop, you can still edit your photos within it without having to do anything using these LUTs. So let's drop the opacity on this to 0 and slowly introduce it just to get it to a point where we're happy before it starts to look a little overkill. So I think probably around 50% for me is good. If we zoom that in a little bit, that's with it, that's without it. It's just enough punch in the sky. If you want to affect the brightness and the contrast and just the different shadows and highlight levels of this image further beyond what you've already done with the LUT by adding the preset, come over to Image, hit Adjustments, and hit Curves. Now this curve line represents the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights. So by adding new points to this curve and dragging the curve around in different positions, we can affect how it's going to look very drastically, just like so. So for example, if we drag the black line all the way up, we're getting rid of all the blacks, it's washing it out. So what we want to do is maybe drag that up a little bit to relax those blacks because it's a little bit dark on the left side of this mountain here. But then a little further up the curve, closer to where the midtones start, I'm just going to drag it down a little bit more. I'm going to bring those midtones down a little bit just so that the snow isn't blown out. And then I'm going to go back up to the highlights here and just move that curve back to the original point. So we have something that looks a little bit like this. Now I'm happy with that. You can preview what you've done by clicking this check here, preview on and off. So that's without it, that's with it. I've just added a little more drama, a little more dramatic feel to the photo by punching up those blacks a little bit more. And I'm happy with that. You can still come back into the LUT at any time and adjust that opacity to make it a little darker, a little less dark, but I think still around 50–55% is what looks good to me. So that is after, that's before, after. So I just wanted to throw that out there for you guys since I've been asked so many times this week if these LUTs work with editing your photos. So the answer is yes. Again, thank you guys so much for all your support. I've seen some of the shots and some of the footage that you guys have been tagging me and using them. Your stuff looks great. Keep it up, keep going. And the best part about these is just the experimental process. It's so much fun to open different images and run different presets on them because you're gonna get completely different looks. Some of these LUTs look like crap on some photos and some of them, it's just meant for it. You load that preset and you're like, oh my goodness, this looks so good. And you're super excited. You step away for a second, you're like, yes. So maybe you can take what you've learned from that, how to make your photos look better fast, combine them with the how to make your photos look cinematic using LUTs in Photoshop, kind of tweak those two skills, and now you've got a really kind of good run and gun photo editing process that's not gonna take you too long, that's gonna take your images from here to here. So like this video, if you got something out of it, hit that thumbs up button, boom, smash it as they don't smash it, just click it. You don't have to, just You don't even have to click it, whatever. Subscribe if you aren't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. I just realized I'm not wearing a hat. What do I do now? We'll just use the hand. Check this out, you guys. In order to have my computer nice and clean on top of that desk, I had to move my iMac to the floor. It's all about that perception, people. And behind me, this nice and tidy room that you guys like to see, such a mess. Oh, such a mess.